Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Just when you thought it was safe to go back into the dungeons, just when you thought 10.1 had maybe fixed healing, the 4 DPS 1 tank comp comes out of the water and takes a giant bite out of you. So let's get into it. So yes, Halls of Infusion, Neltharian's Lair, and Brackenhide have all been completed, at least, on a plus 23 key, all without a healer in Season 2.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Am I going to get all my toys and throw them out of the pram? Scream that this is a meta that will destroy World of Warcraft?
No, I'm not.
Let's be real here. This is no GOAT comp from Overwatch that pretty much ended the hype train for Overwatch and killed the Overwatch League. This is a small group of extremely talented players pushing the boundaries of 5-man content. There's always been a way to cheese things, or a way to push the boundaries in WoW. I remember, I want to say it was back in BFA, I remember 20 tanks with Twilight Devastation killing raid bosses. But let's be honest here, what we're seeing with the no healer comp in Dragonflight is a result of changes to hybrid classes and this new shared tree system we've got. And of course, the rise of the Paladin tank since its rebuild. It has been the perfect storm. When you combine that with certain dungeons that have a very low HPS requirement, or heal per second. So how exactly does Blizzard fix this problem? Is it even a problem? Well, that's a tough one. If you make it so that the very best players can't complete these dungeons without a healer, that probably means you're ramping up the bosses and the trash, potentially to a level that's going to punish players that are still struggling on lower keys. Not all of us have this insane skill level that these guys have got. Also, with doing that, are you going to just put so much more on healers? Are you going to ramp up the HPS requirement so that people just don't want to heal anymore? It's just too much stress. It's a tough balance. And in truth, we really already hit the nail on the head when we spoke about off-healing via the hybrid builds. Of all the screenshots that you will see by these teams when they do a no-healer run, you'll see the DPS, you'll see the dispels, you'll see all these various things. The one you won't often see is the healing numbers. How much HPS was actually done. And that's because, realistically, considering there's no healer, it's obscene how much healing these classes can do, because they're all hybrid classes. They all have, in somewhere in their talent tree, in their specs, in their class options, they have a healer. So therefore you have like druids, they have Nature's Vigil, do damage, heal. The Shadow Priest, vampiric, do damage, heal. Then when you think on top of that these teams are doing between 120,000 and 140,000 DPS each. That's overall. That's not at their peak. That is their average over the course of the entire dungeon run. You combine that with percentage of damage done for healing, you can see how this can be abused. On top of that, you have a really nice selection of affixes this week. You have evokers being able to mass remove enraged. All of these hybrid classes can deal with the afflicted affix. And again, we can see how this is another perfect storm week for this happening. Keep in mind, Blizzard are fully aware that they have an off-healing problem. We've already noticed changes in 10.1. Obviously not quite there yet, but we have seen them try to deal with this. And of course, we have the PTR notes for 10.1.5, and we see again they are trying to hit hybrids with the nerf bat. Blizzard posted it themselves, so rather than me going on, why don't we actually read what Blizzard said themselves? We are reducing the effectiveness of group healing from DPS from damage to healing conversion sources. The abilities affected are Vampiric Embrace, Nature's Vigil, the two we mentioned, and Ancestral Guidance, which is the Shaman's one. While we want hybrid DPS to be able to contribute healing to the group, not just take over, these spells have become powerful enough to temporarily alleviate a healer's role, without interrupting the hybrid's DPS rotation. But yes, in essence in 10.1.5, Blizzard are going to nerf how much these off-healing abilities can actually do. It will be interesting to see if these changes actually affect people still running these no-heal comps. Is it just going to become harder, or is it literally going to eradicate being able to run without a healer? Can the Paladin tank carry all of that healing on its own? That will be interesting to see. We also have the new third Evoker spec, meaning teams have the option of running 1 tank, 3 DPS, and 1 support class, which is going to give a lot of damage, but also buff the abilities of those around it. Personally, I would love to see more options coming to M+, making it more flexible, and I don't mean being able to completely do away with the tank or do away with the DPS or however you want to do it. But give us like 6 slots, maximum for a dungeon group. But then within that, say that there's a minimum group comp you need, but around that, do what you want. So yes, the standard would be 1 tank, 3 DPS, 1 support, 1 healer. But you can move around that with the constraints being you have to have 1 tank, at least a DPS, and at least a healer. So why not have 2 tanks, 2 DPS, 2 healers, or whatever blend you want, whatever suits your group. If you struggle for healing, have more healers. The biggest problem with all of this isn't that people are trying to do no healer comps. It's the fact the community sees it and it starts thinking, wow, you don't need healers for anything. Healers are pointless. Look at these guys. This is mad. Screw the healer. Healers are rubbish anyway. And we all know that once something gets into the mind of the masses, it sticks and it's hard to shift. You see classes that actually aren't that bad now still are shunned and not wanted. Elemental Shamans are a good example. Elemental Shamans are really good at the moment, yet they are not wanted because the community's perception is Elemental Shaman is no good. And healers already get a hard enough time in WoW. They get blamed for almost everything. Healer does their job perfectly, well that's just what was expected of them. But do one thing wrong or get accused of something and everyone will suddenly jump on your back. The tank messed the pull up. Oh, it was the healer's fault. He didn't heal me when I was doing the pull. Oh well, that's the healer's fault then, not the tank's fault. I would go as far as to say, speaking of tanks, we don't even have it that bad currently. So before all the toys go out the pram and all of the people jump onto Twitter and start moaning, see this for what it is, a group of very talented players doing something that is extremely impressive. But it's not something that is ever going to affect 99.9% of us when we are doing our keys. Dear God, we need our healers. Does Blizzard need to address off healing? Sure, and fingers crossed, in 10.1.5, they're doing that. And granted, even with the changes to off healing, some may say the Paladin tank, as strong as it is right now, will still be able to carry the healing. So yeah, sure, it needs a little bit of balancing, it needs a little bit of addressing. But it is a tank that is all about supporting the team, it's what it excels at. A good Paladin player uses all of that toolkit to help everyone. I personally have always seen the Paladin and the DK as the survival tanks. They should do less DPS than the others by a small amount, but they can live without a healer when others shouldn't. Warrior, Demon Hunter tanks, they're the ones if you want to do damage. And then, if you want somewhere in the middle of the road, you want to be able to survive but do good damage, Monks, the Druids, they should be the jack of all trades. Is that how it is? No, but that's the way I've always seen it. So to remove the support aspect of the Paladin would be to remove something that is core to its class iconography. But I think I've gone on long enough. Hopefully time will tell. As I say, see this for what it is. 10.1.5 is coming. That should balance a few things out. But before I go, I do want to say thank you to everyone that subscribed. It means a hell of a lot. Thank you, as I say, for watching. Stay safe, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Ladies, everyone.